Jose Mourinho has one of the greatest legacies as a football manager. The eccentric Portuguese manager is the undisputed king of media in football. He uses the camera not only for the spotlight, but rather as an excellent medium to play his mind games. After plenty of speculation, Mourinho has found a new home, it seems. He will be at the helm of a club with one of the most passionate fan bases in the entire world. Fenerbahce have already presented Mourinho at their stadium, and the excited fans can't wait for the new season. Fenerbahce are on a decade-long run without winning the Turkish Super Lig, the longest in the club's history. The special one is on his way to break this streak and lead Fenerbahce back to its past glory. Mourinho is the kind of manager who looks so effortlessly good at his job that you can't help but think he was born to do this. Now, while this is a completely superficial image of what the actual reality might be, it's exactly where Mourinho thrives, in the crevices of his image rather than reality. He knows how much power and influence can be harnessed in football by building narratives, getting under opponents' nerves, and playing the game unapologetically. Since parting ways with Roma in January of 2024, Mourinho took some time away from football. He has finally decided to lead Fenerbahce back to its former glory. It's a match made in heaven between Turkish fans and the people's manager. So how does an elite manager in his twilight years manage to make his way to the Turkish Super League? We will not only take a look at Jose's career to understand why he excelled everywhere he went, but also try to find out whether the special one has anything more left in his tank, or if his ways are getting a bit stale.
10 years without a title, that's very boring.
If I speak, I am in big trouble.
3 for me and 2 for them.
I have nothing to say. So I have to prove what?
He doesn't know my philosophy.
I think I'm a special one.
This is football heritage.
Jose Mourinho's story always starts with his father's sacking on Christmas Day in Portugal when he was just a child. A respected football coach from whom Jose no doubt learned a lot about coaching while growing up. He tried to play football, but realized quickly that he wasn't exactly the best at it. What he was good at, though, was the tactical aspects of the sport and an empathetic understanding of human nature. Jose's father once said something in an interview with Spanish media which gives insight into Mourinho's so-called arrogance. He said that if his son had been as humble as he had been himself, people would have eaten Jose up and he would have never reached the top. So it makes a lot of sense to see Jose Mourinho's career unfold as it did in terms of the blurry line between his confidence and borderline arrogance. Scouting roles under his father's wing started in his early 20s, around when his playing career wasn't a realistic prospect anymore. The next 5 years were spent chasing UEFA coaching badges and climbing the long managerial ladder. He moved on to coaching a few youth teams before his first career leap in 1992. Bobby Robson was appointed as Sporting Lisbon's head coach, and Jose Mourinho was given the job to be his translator. Mourinho would travel with Bobby Robson over the next 5 years, first to Porto, then Barcelona. After Bobby Robson was made the director of football at Barcelona in 1997, Louis van Gaal replaced him as manager. Mourinho learned the ropes under the Dutch manager for the next 3 years, followed by a return to his home country to work with Joop Heynckes at Benfica. After Heynckes left prematurely in September of 2000, Jose took charge of the club for the first time as a manager. An impressive run of 10 matches with just 2 losses under him was followed by club politics and his dismissal by December. He was appointed as the manager for Porto in January 2002. Here he laid down his groundwork and put to use every bit of knowledge he had absorbed while working under great managers of the time. The most peculiar addition to the vast knowledge pool was Jose's eccentric character and his ability to lead players thinking of every match as a battle to conquer rather than just a game to win. He was a great motivator and an even better judge of character. In his first full season in charge, Mourinho won the league and the Portuguese Cup. This was followed by another league title and the Portuguese Super Cup in the next season. The 2003-04 season was much more special due to Porto's continental title journey. Mourinho had to deal with Real Madrid in the Champions League group stage, along with Marseille and Partizan. Porto qualified for the round of 16 with just 1 defeat in the group against the mighty Madrid. A matchup against Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United was up next. After winning the first leg 2-1, Porto went to Old Trafford and were 1-0 down until a 90th minute goal sent them through. Jose Mourinho famously couldn't hold in his excitement and went on an iconic run down the touchline to celebrate the goal. No one could stop Porto from creating history after that, as they went on to become European champions against heavy odds. This made the world turn its eyes to this extremely new and eccentric manager on the rise, especially top English sides. Chelsea didn't hesitate and appointed Jose Mourinho in July of 2004. Coming off of a fairy tale European title victory, Mourinho proclaimed himself to be a, quote,
I think I'm a special one.
He formed one of the greatest defences in football history, as Chelsea won their first Premier League title in the 2004-05 season. Chelsea conceded only 15 goals in the league and lost just one game. The following season came with another Premier League title, and Mourinho's defensive tactics were recognised as second to none back then. Mourinho was responsible for bringing in Ricardo Carvalho and Paulo Ferreira from his former club Porto. Other additions included Didier Drogba from Marseille, Petr Cech from Stade Rennes, Michael Essien from Lyon, and Michael Ballack from Bayern Munich. After 3 seasons with the club, Mourinho achieved a domestic sweep, winning the Premier League twice, an FA Cup, 2 League Cups, and a Community Shield. He parted ways in September of 2007 after reports of falling out with Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich. Mourinho instead took charge of Inter in 2008 and led them to consecutive league title victories in 2008-09 and 2009-10. The 2009-10 season was one of the greatest seasons in the club's history, as they won the treble.
Great season, incredible season. In this moment, not many words to describe what I feel, because I'm so happy.
A tearful Mourinho was captured hugging Marco Materazzi before leaving in his car on the day they won the Champions League final against Bayern Munich. The most crucial factor to Inter's campaign was their ironclad defense and clinical strikers up front. Mourinho had now etched his name as one of the greatest counter-attacking coaches by this time. His focus on absorbing pressure defensively and transitioning into quick attacks was a brilliant recipe, especially in knockout games. Mourinho perfected building and making this squad believe the narrative that it's us versus everyone else. He used the influence of the media to make players react to his liking, which worked out most of the time. John Terry from his previous stint at Chelsea is a prime example of someone who would die for Mourinho on the pitch.
I would give everything. I would leave that pitch, in a coffin for him.
Mourinho's Real Madrid and Guardiola's Barcelona were one of the biggest rivalries in football history. In 2011, 4 El Clasicos were lined up to be played in 18 days, with 1 league match, a Copa del Rey final, and 2 legs of the Champions League semi-final. Barcelona won the league match and the title along with it, while Real Madrid trumped in the Copa del Rey. The first leg of the Champions League tie ended with a Pepe sending off and 2-0 win to Barcelona. Mourinho was furious and said that he would be ashamed to win the Champions League like Pep had. A suspended Mourinho then wasn't allowed on the sideline, as his side bowed out of the Champions League with a 1-1 draw in the second leg. Mourinho won the league title in 2011-12 with Real Madrid, along with a Copa del Rey and Spanish Super Cup to add in his 3-year tenure. Mourinho came back to Chelsea for another spell in 2013. He went 77 games before facing his first home loss in the Premier League in April of 2014. The 2014-15 season brought another Premier League title for Chelsea, along with a League Cup too. A shocking 7 defeats in his first 14 league matches in the 2015-16 season saw Chelsea slip to 16th place and part ways with Mourinho in December. After a 6-month break, Mourinho joined a struggling Manchester United in July of 2016, and what followed was probably the start of his downward trajectory. He spoke harsh truths, and fans were quick to label him a had-been and criticised his pragmatism. In hindsight, Mourinho probably did overachieve after winning the Europa League, the English League Cup, and the Community Shield in his first season. He later parted ways with the club in his 3rd season in charge in December of 2018. As Jose Mourinho took charge of Spurs in 2019, a season-long Amazon documentary that followed Spurs behind the scenes showed his softer and endearing sides. He tried his best to nurture Dele Alli's generational potential, giving him a fatherly lecture about the harsh realities of life. He developed one of the most lethal front duos in the form of Kane and Son, who wreaked havoc on defenses. Harry Kane dropped deeper and showed his visionary passing ability, while Son made darting runs and clinical finishes. It was truly a remarkable duo to watch, but his tactical approaches were deemed out of touch with modern football. Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy sacked him a week before the League Cup final to end his England tenure in April 2021. A couple of months later though, he went back to Italy to lead AS Roma to an emotional Conference League title. He appeared in headlines for occasional antics and grew a special bond with the Roma fans. But after 2 seasons in charge, Mourinho and Roma parted ways midway through the 3rd season in January 2024. Questions have been consistently raised about whether his pragmatic approach can still bring silverware to any side. Although he has won big and won trophies everywhere, as long as we don't count Tottenham. We might just get to see some older glimpses of Jose at Fenerbahce soon. After all, he thrives on passionate support, and Fenerbahce is the perfect place for it. With his next project imminent, how will Mourinho get on in Turkey? Can we expect him to potentially reach European glory once more with an underdog side? Let us know in the comments below.